Well, good evening. Welcome to Lee Judges TV. Now, before we get into the game, of course, against Crystal Palace, against Arsenal, the opening game of the season, obviously you all know now that I do the thing for BetVictor. A little clip there. Two good guys on it this week, Paul and Adam, and they were talking about all different things, but it come down to it again, didn't it? You know, who's going to come above who, Manchester United or Arsenal? Like, you know, well, I'm more worried about Crystal Palace, Leicester City, and Nottingham Forest, if I'll be honest. Play the clip, Dave.
Okay, Man United 5th then, which means it can only mean...
No. Who agreed on that?
Well, me and Paul are agreeing.
No, I'm having United 6th.
The Arsenal... Don't make me say something stupid. Arsenal will not finish above Man United.
Get that clip.
Oh, future me looking at this on Twitter. Look at what he's just said.
Amazing.
Again.
He's right again.
All right.
So they had the best season ever. Yeah, they're finishing the same. Basically, we finished in the same spot last season. We've improved. We've got a new manager. We're not going to be as bad as we were last season.
You had a new manager last season as well.
Yes, people, how are we doing? Welcome back to Lee Judges TV. Very good clip that. Make sure you get yourself over to BetVictor. They cannot have it. Manchester United fans are all saying they're going to get top 4. They're all saying they're going to finish above Arsenal. But some may disagree, to be honest. It's going to be an interesting season, and it is upon us. I'm going to welcome everybody to the stream. Obviously, I'm your host, Dan Potts, and I'm with Lee Judges. And we have Mark to welcome back from the old times, same old Arsenal days. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, really well. Good to see you all. Nice to be back. Football is almost upon us. 24 hours, lads. Not long now.
No, it ain't long at all, man. But listen, it's great to have you, and you're going to be a regular on this channel on Thursday nights for previews, Mark. So it's been great to have you on board again, man. It's like rolling back the years, isn't it, Lee? Getting Mark back on.
Yeah, sign him up on a short-term deal. I'm just saying, that's all I'm saying. Short-term deal, like, yeah.
Like an Antonio Conte deal, do you know what I mean?
Low term.
Low budget, short-term.
Yeah.
That's it, like, you know what I mean? So we're
Ain't even
sharing.
supplied me with cheese. Ain't even supplied me with cheese. They've given me cheese-flavoured crackers, tight ass.
There you go, like, you know what I mean?
You get some cheese with those next time, mate, if you're any good, Mark, do you know what I mean? So, no pressure. Also, welcome to the show, our Palace fan for a Palace preview. Patrick, how you doing, my bro?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. How are you guys doing? All right?
Yeah, we're all good, man. We're all good. Quickly plug your stuff, man, because I know you and Dee do a lot of stuff over on your Palace podcast. So where can people find you, mate?
Yeah, appreciate it. We're Back of the Nest. You can find us at backofnest.com. We have a YouTube channel that Dee does a lot of great work on. We also do podcast. We do previews on Thursdays and match reviews on Sundays. So just check them out on all your regular downloads.
Brilliant. No, make sure you do that, chat. Plenty of you in already. Make sure you come and follow the content over at Back of the Nest podcast. Lee, let's start with you, man. Little bit on the documentary. Don't want to do too much about it because some people might not have seen it. So not too many spoilers, but I have seen the first 3 episodes today. Kindly, don't have Amazon Prime, but Mark does. So I've kindly been able to watch it. Watched all 3 episodes, and I want to get your kind of reaction from it, really, because some of it really good for me, some of it very bizarre, and my eyebrows are aching today because the amount of times I've been going, what's he doing now? was quite confusing for me, mate, with whiteboards of brains and hearts with faces and arms and graph drawings and getting photographers to do team talks. It was all very bizarre, but what did you think, mate?
Do you know what? I was drilling it. I'm going to say that. And when I see the trailers, I was absolutely drilling. But all in all, I've quite enjoyed it. I've quite seen the insight. And one of the things that I've took from it, and Kevin's always told me this, that there's not a lot of difference between a professional dressing room and a semi-pro. And it wasn't. The same sort of things go on. And the difference between, like, I think, what I've took on board is when you're in the semi-pro, like, you're training twice, maybe 3 times at most. These guys are having to do it every day. So what you have to do every day is you have to change up a little bit. Like, you can't be being the same sort of stuff. So I was quite interested by that. And I know some of it has been a little bit, like, come on, the speakers thing, I'm not having that. But the other stuff I was quite impressed with and all that. Like, now, the one thing that I have got out over this, and which is a good thing, whether you rate Mikel Arteta or not as a coach and whatever, he's a decent bloke. You can tell that, like, he's a likable sort of bloke, and because of that, you want him to do well. There's nothing at this moment in time that suggests that it's going to be this. It's all going to blow up and it's going to be fantastic. But what I do look at it, and I really do believe this, and we'll go into it in the show now. Players make coaches. I always say you can be a real good coach, but it doesn't matter if you haven't got the players. It's not going to work. You know what I mean? I'm not being horrible. Like, to Pep, if he took over Norwich tomorrow, he is not going to win the league with Norwich. You know what I mean? It's a fact. You've got to have top players, and it's how you manage them and all that, like, But I was quite impressed with it. It was better than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be cringeworthy and all that. It hasn't, Dan. If I'll be honest, I think there's been some good, insightful stuff in it. And I'll tell you what, like, episode 2, I thought, should I watch episode 3? Because that's as good as it gets, episode 2. You know what I mean? It's a bit like, well, hey, after that. But even through those defeats, it was interesting to see what happened. And I've been in dressing rooms when we've lost and like that did against Everton, because that was a poor performance. And and the manager just said, if I say something now, I'm going to regret it and walk out. I've been in situations like that. And I quite like that bit. So it just shows you that everybody's human. They're not on a pedestal, these people, and everything like that. I thought it was decent, and the next one I think is going to be very, very interesting.
Yeah, it is going to be really interesting, actually. And I looked at the documentary today, and I really liked some parts of it. I thought some of the players come across really well, by the way. Aaron Ramsdale, loved it, absolutely loved everything about him. Saka, Tierney, really, really good. Yet to see some of the other leaders come out yet, if I'm honest. One thing we haven't seen is Aubameyang play up yet, so that'll be interesting to see what happens there, because so far he's done nothing wrong in my books. But the next episode, when that comes out next week or whenever it is, that's going to be really interesting to see what happens there.
I'll tell you one thing about Kieran Tierney. He's being paid too much. He's got his own chef living with him and all that. I mean, that's unreal, isn't it? Like,
class, isn't it?
That's class.
Taking him everywhere with him, everywhere. You can see the relationship as well is class.
Yeah, it was good. That was good to see.
Yeah. It's been good, and Josh Kroenke and Edu as well being a part of it. Steve Rand and Vinay Venkatesham. It's good to see everybody on the documentary. Do you know what I mean? Apart from Stan Kroenke, but I didn't expect to see him. But yeah, it's good. And I think what we'll see, Lee, is who's going to impress now. Who we're going to, like, when it's all over, we might look at the documentary and go, who will be going to be most surprised by? And it could be somebody like Josh Kroenke or Edu or Arteta, or, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's going to be quite interesting to see who comes across well, you know what I mean? So I'm enjoying it, mate, and that's the main thing. Of course, there's some bizarre stuff with the Liverpool Anfield speakers, never walk alone, and then you're going to get thumped 4-0. Don't look great, but it's one of those things. It's a new idea of his. He's trying new things, and I suppose you can't blame him for that one. Mark, just quickly on that one, mate. I don't know if you've watched any of it, but are you going to watch it is my first question, and what are you expecting?
I will watch it, and it's just nice to get a little insight into the characters and the makeup of the squad, isn't it? To sort of see behind the scenes and what goes on, to get a little taster of it all. I won't be taking any of it too seriously, because we have to remember that it's heavily edited, and they're only letting you see what they want you to see. So, of course, it's going to show Aubameyang in a bad light, because the hierarchy at the club decided he was best off out of it. So they're not going to show the good stuff he does or the charitable work that he does when they've bummed him out of the club. So we're not silly. We know it's going to show the current regime in a good light, and it's going to justify all the decisions they've made up to this point. And more important to see what happens on the pitch, to be honest with you. It's nice. It's a nice little soap opera. It's a nice little sideshow. I'm sure it's made the club a few quid, which might have helped with some of the, with some of the shirt sales and whatnot. It is what it is. It's the beast of football now, isn't it? Football is not just a game of football anymore. This is an entertainment business. This is a money machine. This is huge. So, yeah, it's all part parcel of the game now, isn't it? Access all areas, spotlights permanently on I say I won't be taking too much of it too seriously, because the really important things, the key moments, the things that make a difference in a match, the tactics and whatnot, they're not going to show you that, are they? Because otherwise Arteta's done. He's a busted flush. Do you know what I mean? If he lays all his cards on the table in a documentary, he's finished, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? So you're not going to see his secret corner tactics, because otherwise they're not secret anymore, are they?
And I'll just come in there, Mark, because I said we will not see any tactics because he won't give his secrets away. But apparently, and I haven't seen Pep Guardiola's Man City one or Jose Mourinho's Tottenham one, but they do all the tactics on there, and you'll see why. And there's a specific. Oh, Patrick's nodding his head, so he's obviously seen that.
Both. Yep, I have.
Yeah, and Jose Mourinho at one stage apparently says, Pogba, they're playing Man United. Pogba will get the ball and he will spray it out wide to Rashford, and he will score. Don't let him do it. What happens? Pogba, Rashford, goal, and he goes nuts. So it shows all the tactics. And I thought, so I need to see that from Arteta, because that's what apparently loads of people say, tactical genius, Arteta, all the players, all the coach stuff. Show us. So far, he's just been a motivational speaker. So I hope the next few episodes you'll start to see where he goes with it, because that's something that I think is missing at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, the set piece, I'd be more interested to see, I think we had one of the highest goals scored from corners. I don't think we conceded many set pieces last year. As a defender, I'd be more interested to see what this lad who come in, we replaced the lad we got in from Brentford because he was rubbish, wouldn't we? And we got the other lad, didn't we, from City or something. And I'd be interested to see what these boys are doing. I know we've got a really young lad on our coaching staff as well, haven't we? There's like a 24-year-old in the makeup of that first team's coaching squad. So it's really interesting dynamic to see what he's sort of bringing to the table. It is interesting, but I say I'm more interested in what happens on the pitch in a competitive game, to be honest.
100%. Well, let's move to that. Patrick, I'll come to you just quickly before we do move on, and I'll come and start with you onto the game. Is that a documentary you're going to watch, mate? You've watched Man City and Spurs, you've said. Are you interested in this one?
I always watch these things. Family background, my nephew is a big Arsenal fan. Don't know what happened to him. So I take an interest in Arsenal. My two favorite Palace players, Kenny Sansom and Ian Wright, ended up at Arsenal. So yeah, I watched it last night. It came on late last night. I watched it, and I found it interesting. It's not as, again, you're right. They don't go in depth like they did with the even the Sunderland one. I thought was very interesting. They didn't go into much depth with tactical, but I find it interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing other episodes, especially one with Aubameyang, what happened with him, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Yeah,
fair play, man. Just quickly with you, Patrick, as well. What's your kind of thoughts on Arsenal and where they're going in this transfer window? It'd be interesting to get an opposition's kind of fans' opinion about the manager and some of our signings and what you expect of Arsenal.
So I understand, you guys' expectations are much higher than like a Palace. So when he first came in, him being Arteta, I thought, winning the FA Cup the first season, I thought that was brilliant. I mean, I'd love if Vieira had won the FA Cup last year in his first season. So obviously, the seasons after that, you didn't do as well. So I can understand the frustration with him, with Kroenke, etc. As far as your signings, I think Jesus is going to be a brilliant signing for you guys. His movement is ridiculous, much better than Lacazette or Aubameyang. Obviously, Zinchenko at left back with Tierney being injured is a great pickup. I'm not sure about the other two players, Marquinhos and Vieira. I haven't really seen them play. They're injured right now. They haven't really played. But I think you guys done a good job. You've got Saliba back. He's going to be very good back there with Gabriel. So I think right now you guys are fine. I know you guys have probably been talking about adding some more players because you want to get rid of some of the deadwood like Torreira and Bellerin, etc. But I think overall, I think right now you guys are in great shape. Now, obviously, you guys are in America, which is why I live now. So I saw the games you played over here, and you look great. So, I mean, right now, I think you guys are in good position right now, honestly.
I think that's a very honest opinion, and it's good to hear positive things. Lee, going into this game, we know what happened last year. Patrick kindly reminded us off air.
Yeah.
And,
was it 3-0? Was it 3-0? Can't remember.
I can't remember even. It's that many goals. But I believe this is a completely different Arsenal side now going into that game, Lee. So what's your thoughts about this one tomorrow night?
Yeah. I do think we're a different kettle of fish. You know what I mean? I think one thing last season was we were so inconsistent. We didn't really know what we was going to get from game to game. I think we was on the back of some good performances, performances, good results. I remember we went up to Villa and we defended really, really well. Then we had the international break. We lost Tierney, which was a big blow. Then we lost Partey, we just lost our way in that game. And what will be interesting tomorrow, and what was interesting in that game, that Crystal Palace put it on us, and we crumbled. So there's always that saying in it, learn from your mistakes. And hopefully that's something that we do. I do think they're a little bit different. Even though we lost that game 3-0 and we deserved to lose and we got pumped, there's no two ways about that. We had a few good chances in that game. Now, chances, when you get chances, you've got to take them. Like what I've seen over the last couple of games in pre-season is that when we've had chances, we've took them. So I think what we've got to do tomorrow is ride the storm. And then, you know, when we get that chance, we've got to take it and put Palace out of their stride a little bit, like, you know. But I was speaking to someone yesterday and made a good point. I think that probably Palace is probably one of the toughest games to go to outside of the top six, if you know what I mean. Like, you've got Chelsea, Tottenham, obviously Liverpool and Manchester City, Manchester United you bring into there. Then, you know, I mean, I think Palace, that game is as tough as any other. You know, and I had a think about it. I said, yeah, you know, obviously every game's tough, but there is a difficult game. You look at it like Manchester City struggled there, like, you know, Tottenham got stuffed there last season, so they're not an easy team to go to and play. Now, going back to it last season, very early on, Spurs were 3 games in, 9 points, top of the league, and went to there and got humbled. So, you know, they're going to be up for it. It's going to be a really, really tough game. But for me, I'm looking forward to this game. One, because I think we're a different animal this season. I really do think that. But also, I want to see us tested. I want to see us like, you know, beat Chelsea, and I know, and people go, poor Chelsea, and it was pre-season. Beat Seville. This is you know, whatever happens tomorrow, you can't turn around and say, this is the real deal tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where we are and where we're going to be. And yeah, I'm looking forward. I don't care what anybody says. Whether it happens tomorrow, this is the first time in a long while I'm looking forward to the first game of the season. Last season at Brentford, when people go, "Are you looking forward to the season?" I said, "No, I didn't want that season to start." And you know, but I am looking forward to what I'm seeing. I'm going to be looking forward to, you know, like to see Jesus in the flesh. You know, wait till you see him in the flesh. You're going to be pleasantly surprised. You know, Saliba, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. And so I think that for the Arsenal fans that have not been and seen any pre-season at the moment, you're going to be quite happily surprised with what you see. Jesus, by the way, I've just got to say that I wasn't that excited when we signed him. I'll be honest and all that, but I've seen him in the flesh, and I am excited what he's going to do next season.
Yeah, I'm excited by Jesus and Saliba because in pre-season they've been our 2 best players, and I think what they've done is allowed our front 3 and front 4, in fact, to be completely different from last year because of the movement from Jesus, as Patrick said. And I think Martinelli's had a very good pre-season. Saka's looked sharp. Odegaard looks to be spraying the ball around. So, Mark, does this fill you with a lot of confidence now going into this game tomorrow night that this is a completely different Arsenal from the one that lost, but also a couple of new faces in terms of Saliba, Zinchenko and Jesus that could cause some trouble for Palace tomorrow night, mate?
Yeah, well, I think like Lee said, you know, the games with Palace have always been hard fought, well contested games. Going, like Lee says, going to Palace is always a tough ask. You know, they're fantastic support, one of the loudest grounds, you know, old-fashioned style ground. You know, those of you who are going, you can have a cracking night, hopefully. It'll be a great start advert for the Premier League season, I think. You know, I think there could be a couple of goals in this. I mean, Arsenal, you know, if Jesus carries on his form, I'd back him to get on the score sheet tomorrow night. My thing always with Palace, well, with us, I'm excited. You know, we've added Saliba to the back line. You know, that can help because we'll need it. I mean, I know that people were raving in pre-season about how Saliba ate up the ground and kept up with Werner when he was in a sprint race in one of the pre-seasons, you know, and he'll need that because, you know, we know Palace, their front line is bloody good. You know what I mean? They're fast. They attack at pace, get in behind. I think Eze's back, isn't he? He's been playing in pre-season. He's a big player. He's potentially going to have a super season for them. I really like him, and he was unfortunate with his injuries last year. So I think this is going to be a really exciting game. The question mark is, and I don't know, you know, our man will probably know better. Well, he will know better. What Palace have done at the back, because that will be key to how they perform this season. No problem with Palace going forward. They'll cause everybody problems if all their boys are fit, but it's whether or not they can stop us scoring, and I don't think they can.
Fair play, man. Listen, Patrick, I don't really know what you've been up to in pre-season. I don't know who you've signed. I know you've signed some players. I know you've lost Conor Gallagher, but I just wonder if you can give us a bit of a roundup of your pre-season and some of the signings under Patrick Vieira and your thoughts going into this game, mate.
Sure. So preseason was a little bit hectic for us because we had a split squad. What happened? We had booked a tour to Singapore and Australia. So half our squad went to Singapore, Australia. The other half stayed home. So players like Eze, Benteke and Zaha and Gehi, for whatever reason, some people said it was vaccination, they stayed here, whereas players like Edward and Ayew Anderson went to Australia. We didn't do well out there. We lost to United, we lost to Liverpool. We weren't going to beat them anyway with our full score most likely, but we did get a draw against Leeds. But the team that stayed here did really well. Zaha and Eze. You talk about Eze. Eze has looked brilliant during the preseason. He took a year to get off of his an ACL. He took a year to get back, but he looks really good. We played Montpellier last Saturday, beat him 4-2. He's up a great goal for Zaha. Zaha's been brilliant in preseason. And what's been very good about the preseason is that the guy that stayed back our midfield is going to be Schlupp, our new signing, Czech Decore, and Eze. And they look really, really good. So that's been a major benefit, and we got to see some of our youngsters that are on our trip, which was good. But we've signed Chris Richards, a centre back, United States player who came from Bayern Munich, who I really, really like. They're maybe looking to go to a back three at some point with Gehi and Anderson, so he'll fit in perfectly. We mentioned we signed Czech Decore, defensive midfielder from Lens, brilliant player. He breaks the lines well, progressive passer, great tackler. Bit small, he's not tall, but he's he's an upgrade of Czech Kyoto, which I'm really looking forward to. We've got Sam Johnston, the goalie from West Brom. He's a very good shot stopper. He'll push Guaita for the number one spot. Right now he's injured, but he'll be back in a couple of weeks. We've signed a couple of players from Derby, Malcolm Ibue, a young player who turned down Man United, 19-year-old player. Much in the Elise Zaha mold. He can play outside wide, cut inside, inverted winger, can play up front. And Luke Plunge also from Derby County. So we made some good young signings. I'm excited about them. I mean, we probably still need a midfielder. You guys mentioned we've lost Gallagher. It's going to be a big miss. But I think Vieira, who's been I like to say, he's been very tactically aware. He changed the system around. Last year, we played a 4-3-3 with 2 8s in Macca, MacArthur, and Gallagher. This year, we'll play with as going to be as a 10. So you'll see him tomorrow get forward a lot, be all over the place. You'll see Decore hold the front of the back four, and you'll see probably Jeffrey Schlupp, play more of a box-to-box number 8 like Gallagher. He's not going to be as good as Gallagher, but he'll play that role. So as far as our preseason, I thought it went pretty well. I saw a couple of youngsters might go out on loan, who look pretty good. But overall, I think we're going to be in good shape for tomorrow. I'm looking forward to the match.
Yeah, it's a really good rundown there. And I think one thing I will say before I come to Lee is Patrick Vieira is not signing weak players. And what I mean by that is they're all physical. They're all strong. Yeah. All their attributes look like monsters. And when you've got players like Mark says, like Eze, Elise, who I'm a massive fan of, Zaha, I think has been killing it for a long time now. Mateta, I think did really well for you to a part of last season. Yeah. Obviously, you've got a great partnership with Anderson and Gehi, and if you're going to go free at the back with a new guy, Richards, who you've signed, that's going to be strong. Big fan of Tarek Mitchell, and I think he had his best season at Palace last year and obviously got called up at England. I'm liking what Patrick Vieira is doing. I'm not saying that as a gooner. I actually think he's done a really good job. So before I hand back to Lee, what do you fans think of your manager? Because he's done well, hasn't he?
Me personally, I think he's been brilliant. When we lost our manager last year, I mean, I was, we were worried who we were going to get. But to get Vieira in, I mean, I live in New York now, so I got to see him manage at NYCFC. So I knew some of his abilities. And obviously, as a legend, as an Arsenal player for France, for Juventus, etc., I was very excited. And I just love what he's come in and done. Again, he's focused, like you said, is on young players. Last year we signed Elise. This year we signed Ibue. He looks for those younger players. We've got Decore in there. SAK was in there before. Then we've got Edward, who came from Celtic last year. So we look for those under 25 players that we can either resell at some point, but just, good young players, street ball kind of players. But I've liked what he's done. And again, what I like about Vieira is that he's adjusted well. Now, last season, think I mentioned before, we had 15 draws last year. If we could turn half of those, maybe 5 of those into wins, we could end up, 7th, 8th place next year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does this year. Again, I think he's got big plans. We're probably looking for a right back possibly, because right now we have Klein and Ward back there, not really suited for what Vieira wants to play, and maybe another midfield like you mentioned to replace Gallagher. But I think overall, I love what Vieira's done. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I think he's very progressive. I think he's very exciting as a manager. I'm looking forward to him this year. I really am.
Yeah, and so you should be, man. Lee, some positive stuff there from Patrick in relation to Patrick Vieira and the players. And this just sums up why this, of course, could be a banana skin and a difficult game. But where do you think the areas will be kind of won and lost in terms of both teams? And why do you think that Arsenal will get the better of Palace, mate?
Oh, do you know what? Patrick makes a good point there. I think wide areas. I think with Saka and Martinelli, I think that's where we can really expose them. Listen, Patrick's done a fantastic job there. I'm so pleased because I'm a big Vieira fan, obviously, for obvious reasons. And he actually, I think, didn't get the credit he deserved last season. Considering like where they were at the beginning of the season with players, personnel, and everything, to do what he done was unbelievable. And I think that he'll push him on a little bit more this season. But I do feel with Arsenal, I think that I think someone said it in the chat there about 300 million that we spent. That's the difference, you know what I mean? I think that Vieira at the moment is going to have to bring in younger players, coach them, or a bit, wily old professionals and stick with them there and all that. Arsenal are getting in vibrant young players. We should be able to get over the line with that front three, and that's where I think it is different this season. I felt at times we're a possession-based side, and we kept a lot of the ball and kept possession, but we were toothless. You know what I mean? We was like jaws with no teeth. It weren't good enough, but now we've got teeth. You know what I mean? Nice sharp ones. They're going to come and bite teams, and hopefully starting tomorrow. And I do think that that's been the difference. I honestly do believe that we've, even in pre-season, I know it's pre-season, but you look at, we played some really good stuff against Seville, but blew them away with chances and goals. Same against Chelsea. Chelsea, no mugs. Took them when we got the chances. And I just think that that's what's going to happen tomorrow as well. I just think that our firepower, if they turn up, there's always the case that you don't know what they're going to do. Let's hope that they can turn up. And if they do, I just think, that the fullbacks are good. Mitchell's a good player, but Saka's got that little bit of skill, little bit of creativity. I think that Jesus and his movement and all that may be just too much for their defenders. That's what I'm pinning my hopes on. But if I'll be honest, the one thing that was worrying me a little bit is the physicality of Palace. I think they're a very physical side, particularly in midfield and up front. That is where I think Partey and Xhaka have got to come in their own tomorrow. I've seen them dominate midfields in pre-season. They've got to dominate that midfield against Palace. If they do, that puts us in a good position.
Yeah, I think that's a great point about bossing the midfield. Mark, they're very physical, mate, but actually we're a lot more physical than we have been over the last few years. Obviously, Lee mentions Xhaka and Partey, Saliba coming in the mix next to Gabriel. Ben White looks to be playing at right back. So do you think that we can cope with their physicality is my question. And where do you see this game going in terms of battles being lost and won?
Yeah, well, I do, it's just got to turn up, every man's got to win their individual duels. I think Eze, am I right in saying Eze played centre midfield a couple of times in pre-season? Are they looking for Eze to... Yeah, so they're looking for him.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to replace Conor Gallagher, is he, in the middle there? So that'd be interesting to see. I think there's definitely we've got to be looking to get at him, listen. People in the chat saying if we draw tomorrow, we can't start cheering about it being an improvement on last season. Well, we can because we lost 3-0. So if we get one more point in every game this season, we'll win the league, won't we? So that's a stupid comment to say. If we do improve on last season's result, how can you not be happy? Do you know what I mean? We've got to get on moving forward, moving the club forward. So yes, go there, compete to a man, win your individual duels, and our quality. And I believe we've got better quality. You know, proven Premier League winners. All right, not with us, but with Man City. You know, we should be able to win this game. And if we've got aspirations of getting back at the top table of European football, these games, no disrespect, we have got to go and win. And if we can't, that is credit to them, but that says more about us, I think.
Fair enough, mate. I think you're spot on with what you're saying. Patrick, let's come to you because we've spoken about some of the danger men on your side. I don't think it's takes Einstein to work out where you're decent. I think Zaha is always going to be a threat. I like what I see from Eze, and I think you've got some physical presence. I think Mateta is a player that I will be looking at very closely this season. I quite like him, if I'm honest. I do quite like what I see from this guy up top, and I think that he's got the ability to cause some issues to a lot of clubs. But as for Arsenal, Patrick, where do you fear us like tomorrow night? Like, what do you fear about Arsenal in terms of players and some of the areas of the pitch, mate?
Well, clearly, Jesus is going to be an issue. Like I said, last season, the 3-0, the reason why we were able to play a high line because we knew that Lacazette could run in behind us, and obviously we don't have that opportunity tomorrow. You did it to Jesus, he'll run behind us. So you got to watch Jesus. Even when we played against City this season, even though we got 4 points off them and they didn't score against us, he was always an issue for us. So Jesus is obviously an issue. But I do like the fact that Mark Gahey has had a brilliant season last season, and I think he'll be up for the task. And then in the wide areas, you've got to worry about Saka and Martinelli. Saka not as much because like you mentioned, I really like Tyreek Mitchell as our left back, so I think he'll do a good job. Martinelli on the other side is probably going to have a lot of joy because, again, I'm not sure he's going to play right back. It might be Klein, it might be Joel Ward, but either one, they will have a problem with Martinelli for sure on that side. So I'm worried about that. And then in midfield, this Decore's first game tomorrow, in the Premier League. So that, you don't know how he's going to react to, the crowd, the first match. You've got Partey and Xhaka, physical players in there. So that could be a bit of a worry. And Odegaard last season, it was dangerous. We didn't score, but he was dangerous against us. So obviously you need Schlupp or someone to stay on him. So I would say obviously it's the midfield, some areas, and obviously the two wide players. And again, Jesus, it's going to be a problem. So I think if we can kind of keep track of Jesus and the wide players, we'll do okay tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's sound. I do believe that we are going to have some issues. And I think likewise, if we start to play the way we have been in pre-season, then I don't see any other result than an Arsenal win the way we've been playing. I've been really encouraged by what I've seen. It's been really good to watch the last few games of pre-season going into this one. So, Lee, what I will say, team news-wise, I think we're pretty strong. Tomiyasu and Tierney are probably the only two that would get in if fit, I imagine. The rest of the side is pretty much a full-on 11, I would say, Lee. Do you think it's going to be the same team that played against Seville that plays this one tomorrow night, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be the same team that play against Chelsea and Orlando and this one as well. I can't see them making any changes. A little bit of rumours are that maybe Vieira and Tierney and also Tomiyasu could be on the bench tomorrow, which would be good if they are. They've trained, so we'll have to wait and see. But we'll keep the same team. I think the cohesion of the team's been good, if I'll be honest. It's been pretty good. I think when you've gone on those last two games and dominated them like they did, 4-0 against Chelsea, 6-0 against them, if you was to change it now, it'd be a bit silly, if I'll be honest. So, and listen, we go tomorrow. Positive, everything's gone really well. No excuses no more, Dan. I have to say that. This is the first time in a long while I think Arsenal are ready to go. All the players that are playing today have all had a very, very good pre-season. Then you think about it, Jesus, who we bought obviously this season as a striker, and has participated in every pre-season friendly. When was the last time our star player or our big signing has played straight away in every pre-season game? We're normally getting him right at the end of the window, i.e. Ozil style or something like that. So I think that's very, very encouraging, my point of view, that we've got that over the line early. The front three have been playing virtually all the time. Now, Martinelli has participated in every game. Saka hasn't, because that was of international duty of their own choice. He had an extra couple of weeks, but since he's come back, he's been playing. So I think that it is now no excuses no more. There's no excuses. We have got the team now to go and do the job. Where it's going to take us, I don't know, but we've got to go. I don't want to see performances like the one against Crystal Palace last season, and I don't want to see them no more. The one against Everton I've just watched on the old Amazon, like those performances, I don't want to see no more. I want us to go there. I remember going to Crystal Palace years ago, tough game, 3-1, 4-1. Righty, Campbell, bash, see you later. I remember Giroud getting a couple of goals there. It's always a tough game, but we've come out and get results. And the good teams will go to Palace, and no disrespect to Patrick or whatever, and they will get the results. The Manchester Cities, the Liverpools, and we'll find it difficult for parts of the game because that's how it is. But ultimately, you get the job done. No excuses no more. Get the job done.
Yeah, well said. I agree with Lee, Mark, and I think that it has got to be a 3-point start because the way that our fixtures are lined up, mate, I know that no game's easy, but the first 5 fixtures, if you were to pick 5 games to play to start the season, wouldn't be too disappointed with those first 5. I know Crystal Palace is a potential tough game Friday night at their place, Banana Skin, of course, but if you can get past that game like we're all hoping, you move on to Leicester's and Bournemouth's and Fulham's and Villa's. You've got to be fairly confident going into those games. I mean, I'm looking at those results now, fixtures now, thinking there's no excuses why we shouldn't have a good start, Mark, is there?
No, definitely not. And it's interesting, we've got Leicester. There's some funny vibes coming out of that football club at the minute, with, the rumours around Maddison going to Newcastle, Tielemans possibly leaving, potentially to us. Let's fingers crossed for that. With Kasper Schmeichel leaving this week and going to Nice, it's a massive hole for their club captain to be leaving. It's seemingly out of nowhere.
Fofana as well to Chelsea. They're saying
Fofana to Chelsea potentially. It's a strange. It's like they're breaking up the squad, but they've signed no one. They're the only club to have not got anyone through the door. It's very weird what's going on there. So yeah, I would be bitterly disappointed if we didn't get 3 points there. Huge potential for us to have a flying start. Completely different to what we did last year, obviously, with a 3-0 defeat at Brentford. So let's hope we get off to the right way. We've certainly, like Lee says, we've got our business done. Maybe Pat saying there about the Super Eagles having a split squad in the pre-season. Maybe that they'll take them a few weeks to get gelling back together. Let's hope so. Let's hope that it's the right time to play them. And they're not quite firing yet. So yeah, all these things is a little bit about timing, isn't it? And let's hope we've got the timing right. Leicester are selling and not buying. So it'd be a good time to play them. So yeah, listen, we've all said it. We're all going to stand by it. Time's up. It's time to deliver. This season, he needs to win something, or Champions League, or both, or he's gone.
Yeah, facts. I can't disagree with anything you said, Mark, to be fair. Going into the new season, it'd be rude to come to a close without doing some predictions, not just for this game, but actually for the season. So we'll start with tomorrow night score predictions, and then we'll come back to a little bit about what we expect of Arsenal and Crystal Palace this coming season. Patrick, we'll start with you as you're our guest. We'll welcome you on to give a prediction of Crystal Palace 5, Arsenal 1. What do you reckon the score is going to be tomorrow night, mate?
I wouldn't be that optimistic even in the best of times, but it's going to be a tough match. I mean, we've talked about how tough it's going to be. And I mentioned last season about the 15 draws. I'm looking at a draw tomorrow, honestly. I'm thinking 2-2 tomorrow. We have a very tough start. You guys mentioned your start. We have you, then we've got Liverpool, Villa, Man City, then Brentford. So we've got to start getting points at some point early in the season. So we need to get something out of tomorrow's game. So as much as I think that optimistically would pick a win, I would definitely say, based on how we played in the past, I think a 2-2 draw is what I'm looking at for tomorrow.
Fair enough. Judges, what about yourself, mate?
I'm going 2-0 to the Arsenal. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I just think we're just going to have that little bit of firepower and everything like over them. I think it'll be a tough game. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't win this game and draw it and maybe even lose it. I'm not saying that it is, but what I've seen I'm only going to go on what I've seen in pre-season. I think if we carry on that sort of form, I think we'll be all right tomorrow.
Fair play. Mark, what about yourself, bro?
Yeah, I'm going to go with an Arsenal win, and I don't think it'll be close. I think there'll be a couple of goals in it, so I think it'll be 2-0, 3-1, like Lee, something like that. Saying that, I don't know if we're going to concede. I fancy us this year. Everyone's been banging on about Saliba. He's big, large, imposing character. He's quite fast by all accounts. So I've got good hopes for our back line. With Zinky Winky coming in as well to cover at the left back. I'd like us to get another sort of holding midfielder in to cover. I mean, our problem is usually when we've got Partey and Tierney out at the same time. That's when we usually have a problem. And obviously Zinchenko can cover one of them. He can't cover both of them. So, a lot of it will depend on if they have simultaneous injuries. But, fancy us to win 2-0, 3-1. And I fancy us to be there banging on the door of that top four this year. We need it, or something's going to have to change. But, we'll see. Palace will be all right as well, by the way. I think Palace will be top 10.
I think they will be. No.
I have a quick question. Has Saliba played in the Premier League at all before? This is his first game tomorrow.
Yeah, first game.
First game. Yeah, he's always been out on loan.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Tough place to make your Premier League debut.
Not the best place.
He's going to find out, isn't he? Welcome to the Premier League. Crystal Palace away. Good luck.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking forward to it. That's why I'm looking forward to Saliba, not just because of what I've seen in pre-season, but this is a tough test. And one I fancy him.
Match, Dan, isn't he? He's going to need a man of the match.
He is, and I fancy him tomorrow night. What I've seen, I've been encouraged, really excited by what I see from him. I loved him over in France from the games I did see. And I didn't know anything about him at St Etienne. And when we signed him, I thought, let's watch him a little bit. And he looked good. And then he went to Nice and he was their player of the season. Then he went to Marseille, got himself in the France side, and then team of the year. And I thought, this kid's clearly good. Can he cut it in the Premier League? That's the question. You see him in pre-season. He's got all the attributes you need to be a half-decent defender and more. And I'm really excited to see what we can do. But as for my prediction, I'm going to go for 2-1 to the Arsenal. I think it's going to be a narrow victory. I don't think it's going to be a 4-5 like I'm seeing in some people's eyes. I just don't see us doing that. I think Crystal Palace are far too strong. As much as I'd love to say that, I know people get excited when you beat Seville 6-0 and Chelsea 4-0, but pre-season ain't the real thing. I think it'll be a narrow victory, and I think we'll do it, and I think we'll play well. And I think it'll grind out a result tomorrow night. I don't mind that sometimes. Sometimes you have to go to these places and do that. You're not going to blitz everybody that you sometimes and be happy. Sometimes you take the 2-1 wins when you can. I'd love to see the 5-0s against Fulham's at home this season and Bournemouth's at home. But when you go to Palace, I'm not expecting that. I don't remember the last time I went to Palace and won 4 or 5-0. So for me, even with good sides. So for me, take the 2-1 victory and we'll move on from it. But I want to come to you, Patrick, about Crystal Palace's thoughts. Then we'll come on, close on Arsenal's. I've been really impressed, mate, with what Patrick Vieira's done. I know Lee and Mark have as well. This season, though, sometimes you can have like a second season shocker where you have a real great one and then you can't quite keep it. Do you worry sometimes, mate, that that could be the case? And what's your sort of expectations, mate?
I don't, only because we signed some decent young players and we kept all of our important players, like Zaha. There was interest in Zaha apparently from other clubs, and he's still here. Largely his contract, but he's still around. So I'm not worried about that. I actually am very optimistic for this season. We're not a top 6 side, but I think we could finish 7th, 8th, 9th this season, which is an improvement on finishing 12th last year. And 12th last year was because we got to the FA Cup semi-final, and after that, we just kind of stopped playing. We, put all our hopes in getting to the cup final. We lost to Chelsea, and that was it. But I'm looking forward to the season a lot. I really think. Olise won't play tomorrow; he's injured. But when he's back, looking forward to him playing. We've got some youngsters in our academy who look very, very good. So no, the future looks very bright for Palace. As long as we keep our players on. Again, we're not going to sell anybody in this window. We're going to probably add 2 more players. Vieira looks very up for it. He's bought into our ethos, into our young players and everything. I'm looking forward to the season big time. So no, I'm looking forward to having a really good season this year.
And what for you? What would be? Last season semi-final and very, very safe. I thought was a really good season. So, What classes is like a pretty shocking season, and what classes is a really good season for your fans? Do you think this upcoming season, mate?
A shocking season will obviously be fighting relegation, which we did under most of our previous managers. So that would be shocking for me with this squad. A really good season for me, honestly. I want to win a cup. Now, we haven't won a cup in our history. I'm looking at trying to win the League Cup. I don't know, people might find that kind of funny, but with the World Cup being where it is, other teams, maybe you guys you're in Europe again, and other teams focus on Europe. I'm thinking maybe we can get a lucky draw early. Maybe going to get to the League Cup final, win a League Cup, and then after that, anywhere mid-table will be great for me, honestly. So for me, a great season is mid-table and a League Cup win. A poor season is fighting against relegation, but I don't think that's going to happen for us this year.
No, I agree. I don't think it will either. Let's talk to Lee about what he thinks about Palace, because I know you're a big fan, mate, and what you're seeing. And I know you joked last season about beating us and all that, but I know Patrick Vieira is one of your, I think he is your favourite ever Arsenal player. You think he's the greatest ever Arsenal player, that's for sure. So what do you think they're going to do with Palace this year, mate? And what will be a good season for them?
Listen, I've got, like obviously with Patrick Vieira, obviously they're like, obviously like Doogie Freeman, obviously that I know. So, and he's doing a good job at Crystal Palace. So, so I've always got a little vested interest in what Palace do, if I'll be honest. And being a South London lad in the day, being born out here in Wimbledon, I've got to have a little South London favourite, and it would be Crystal Palace. I think I've always said about Crystal Palace, Kenny and Patrick alluded to it earlier on, Kenny Sanson, and obviously give us Ian Wright, so they made Ian Wright. So
did you follow Arsenal north of the river then, Lou? Are you that old?
No, I didn't. There was no need for that, was there? Like, you've got two or something like, I mean? So no, I didn't.
We'll have you.
You wouldn't believe it. I was at Wimbledon, born in Wimbledon, would you like, so all that posh side of the family. So, so I've got always had a big thing for Crystal Palace. I've always liked their kit. Remember when they used to play white back in the day, white with a little stripe across it?
The Thunderbird kit.
Vince Hilaire, like, and guys like Dave Swindlehurst playing for them. So I remember the days of Palace, and so Jerry Francis running the midfield. So good old days. So always a pleasure to go down there, and so I've got a little vested interest in them. Like, I think that they're doing a little bit better than whatever. But the one thing that worries me, and maybe Patrick going it, like, if that is a difficult start for them. If they work tomorrow, then a couple of defeats. It could, once you're in that bottom bit,
you're right.
It could, can go that way. So hopefully that we get the result against them, and then they can pick up a few results and from there on. But I think they'll do all right, and I'm pretty sure under Patrick, I couldn't wish for nothing more than Patrick to do well as a manager and really prove that he is a good manager. And listen, he was a wonderful, wonderful leader. And and just thinking about Crystal Palace games, one of the best Crystal Palace games ever was that 4-3 in the semi-final. Do you remember that at Villa Park?
Liverpool,
and a certain Pardew got the winner, didn't he?
Super Al.
Yeah, so Andy Gray was a good player from in midfield. I remember that, like Mikey saying that, like, so I'm hoping that Crystal Palace do really, really well, but obviously not tomorrow.
Yeah, fair play, man. Mark, your thoughts on Palace, mate, this season? I know you're a fan of the manager, and I think it'll be interesting to see what they do this year. I really do.
Well, like Lee, I've always had a little bit of a side interest in Palace. My old best mate used to be a Palace fan. I used to train at their swimming pool when I was a little bit younger, because it was an Olympic standard swimming pool. So I've always looked out for them. I'm not quite as old as Lee, so I only go back as far as Eric the Ninja Young and those sort of days. And you know what I mean? I remember Eric at the back with his headband, and they were trailblazers in one way. When they had that team of Attilio Lombardo and Thomas Brolin, and they were a fantastic football club. They still are a fantastic football club, really well supported. I'll never forget working in Southampton, and I went to watch them. It was the most miserable game of football I've ever seen in my life, on a rainy Tuesday night in Southampton. Palace went down there, and it was just at that time when Arsenal had signed Theo, and Harry Redknapp had walked out to go back to Portsmouth or something like that, and the game was absolutely diabolical. The only thing that kept me entertained was the Palace fans chanting, "Where's your Theo gone?" and "There's only one Harry Redknapp" the whole way through the game. You know what I mean? They're just brilliant. They're brilliant fans, brilliant supporters. They're so loud. It's going to be a cracking up. They'll be all right. You know what I mean? They're decent. There's lots of other clubs that have come up. Well, definitely two that have come up that will potentially go straight back down. And I'm concerned there's a couple of other football clubs, you know, like I said, Leicester, I think they're going to struggle next year. And Everton have done nothing of any significance apart from sell a match winner in this window. So I don't know what they're planning on doing because, you know. So
my tip to go down, Mark, Everton.
Well, I have to say, Dan, if I was Crystal Palace, I would be saying there's definitely 10 teams in this league that we can finish higher than, at least. So, yeah, they'll be absolutely fine. And like Lee says, they've got one of the greatest leaders of all time in their dugout. So, you know, just watch a video on how he played the game and do that, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, no, fair play, man. I'm agreeing with you there.
Some of the chat just said what was Patrick's best games for Arsenal. Like, there were so many, but just two quick off the mark, both at Old Trafford. 2002 against Man United. Yeah. He was awesome that day. And also in the FA Cup semi-final against Spurs. If you have never seen him play that day, we go 1-0 down. We win it 2-1. Should have won it about 10-1 in the end.
Yeah.
He was awesome that day. And my brother is a Spurs fan and was up there that day. And he come back that day and he just said, "I've just seen the best player in the Premier League." Patrick Vieira. So there you go.
Yeah.
I see the Ivory squad. I see the Ivory squad are in the chat. Sorry, lads. And they're just talking about my background. It's not background. It's my house. It's the wall. It's real.
I think she means that. I think she likes the wallpaper, mate.
Thank you.
Nah, thank you, Sophie. Big up, Sophie. Get over to the Hybrid Squad, subscribe and watch their content. Well, I honestly believe I looked at Crystal Palace when I was doing my little predictions the other day. I didn't put them anywhere near the bottom for the pure.
No, they're all right.
I looked at the other teams and I thought Leeds, Everton struggle. I think, you know, I even put Brighton below Palace this time because they've lost all their. I love Graham Potter, but they're losing their big key hitters. Unless they get somebody in, they're going to struggle. I think not for relegation, but they'll finish below them. Leicester, I fancy them to have a shocker if they're going to get rid of their best players and not replace them. Palace have not come on anyone. Brentford, people are talking about having a second season shocker. Obviously, Fulham and Bournemouth coming up. I fancy Forest to be the surprise of the season. I don't think they'll go down, but I think they'll finish below Crystal Palace. So I'm with you guys. I'm looking at Palace to come between 10th and 11th or 12th, and I think they'll be satisfied with that if they can have a good cup run. You know, I really do. So fair play to them. Let's just talk quickly. We wrap up about Arsenal and our expectations because I'm sure the chat will want to know and everyone listening will want to. I'll come to Patrick first because it's always good to get fans opposing kind of views. I know you've said a little bit about our signings. You think we'll have an okay season. You think Arteta's doing what he should be doing. But what's your expectations of Arsenal this season in terms of Champions League, Europa League? Where do you think Arsenal fans will be sitting at come the end of the season, mate?
It's interesting. I think that as far as the league concerned, you know, I'm going to take, obviously, the winner's going to be City or Liverpool. But honestly, that third spot's up for grabs for me. So I think it's between you, Tottenham, your favourites, maybe Chelsea, United. United haven't done anything in the window. So honestly, I think you guys could definitely finish third or fourth this season without too much trouble. And that'll get you back in Champions League next year. So I think you guys should be fine in the league. And again, it depends on the squad. I know you don't have tremendous squad depth. So I don't know how you guys are going to house this. You're going to take the League Cup or the FA Cup. You're in the Europa League, right? So that's a Thursday game you've got to worry about. So. And I know you're going to want to win the Europa League, and that will get you in Champions League also. So I think you guys are going to be fine. I think the worst you'll finish is top 4, honestly, this season with your new signings, unless something badly happens. Yeah, I really believe that, honestly. Looking at the top at United, who's supposed to be a challenger, they've done nothing. I really respect Ten Hag, but I don't really think they've made enough signings this off season. Chelsea, I don't know if he's playing Football Manager or not, the new owner, but they're just buying players just to buy players. It seems like with no real plan. And I think Tottenham, though. Tottenham's the one. Tottenham, I think, is going to might even challenge for the title. I really rate their manager, and they've made some really, really great signings in the window. Tottenham. So I think it's going to be, you know, City, Liverpool, City, and then you and Tottenham in top 4. And then again, like I said, hey, that seriously, Arteta takes the Europa League. If he wants to win it, you guys probably you went to the final a couple of years ago. I mean, you can get there again, but again, it depends. But I think you guys are going to be fine. I agree. You guys probably need to make some more signings because you don't have a really deep backup players, but I think you're going to be fine as far as your starting 11. Even your top 13, 14 players are fine. You're going to be as fine. So I think you guys are going to have a good season.
That positive talk from Patrick, always good to hear. Mark, what's your thoughts of Arsenal going into this season, mate?
Yeah, now's the time, isn't it? Like I say, I would like to see us get one more in the midfield. And potentially we could have done with getting another sort of forward of some sort of experience. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not keeping Lalaka, but we could have done with something, I think, up top, just because, like you say, we're going to be playing Thursday, Sunday, Monday, Thursday. You know what I mean? They're going to come thick and fast with this Europa League. So, and I know we've got Eddie, but you're right. You're one injury away from a bit of a crisis again, aren't you? So, and it doesn't have to be a groundbreaking transfer. It could have been like a Lucas Perez or something like that, just to fill the squad. Obviously not in now, but like when we did get him, do you know what I'm saying? Like Davil Suka, when we got him through the door, experience, knows where the goal is. Someone to come on for half an hour at the end of a Europa League game when we've done the business. We could have done with a couple more, but then are we going to go with Balogun? Is he going to get some games?
He's gone.
He's gone out, has he?
Yeah,
right,
he's gone online.
Okay. So then, we definitely, I think, need to get, unless, I mean, there's big rumours that we're still trying to pump out Pepe and a few others in there. So I think if we do get out Pepe and a few others for some money, any sort of money, then they probably will invest one or two more bodies in the squad. And if we did that, I'd be seriously thinking we can get top four. We're only a couple of signings away, I think, from almost doing it. And like I say, like Pat said, we can win the Europa League. We can, of course, we can. We're good enough to win any cup competition. But what I want to see is some consistency in the Premier League campaign. That's these kids are young. They've had their years of learning now, where young lads are inconsistent, and that's shown the last two seasons. Now's the time. Now's the time to put in consistent performances and grind out consistent results in the Premier League. And if that means, like last year, potentially throwing away the FA Cup and League Cup to get back into Europe's top table, then I'll support them. I'll back them if they do that. I'm positive. It's just a shame we ain't got Giroud for tomorrow night. Could have done another scorpion kick.
Thank you.
Listen, we couldn't get through the podcast without mentioning it, could we?
Cheers for that.
We'll be all right. I think we'll get back in Champions League football, whether that's top four or winning the Europa League, one way or another. We've got to do it.
Fair play. There's a really good comment in the chat from Christian. Big up, Christian. Hope you're well, man. He says he got to close the points gap, not the position gap, Lee. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think it would be good to see? Obviously, we want to get top four. We want to get Champions League football back. It'd be great to finish third, best of the rest. But if we're third and we're 20 points off Liverpool and City again, if we're third and we're 6 points off Liverpool and City, that is showing some serious sort of threat. So I think he's got a good point there, Christian, to be fairly.
Fantastic point. That's what we've got to do. We've got to, like Burnley are not in the league this season, but the teams like Burnley, Brighton, we didn't beat at home last season. We've got to beat them at home. We can't afford to lose to the likes of Everton's away. Everton were on a poor run of 10 defeats on the spin when they played us, and we went there and lost. Also, like Southampton were on a run of 10 defeats and we lost to them. Those sort of games we've got to go and win. We've got to go and win those games. Pick up another 10, 15. If you pick up those, look at that, 10, that's another 10, 15, 12 points. That pushes you nearer to Liverpool and that will get you over the line for top four. So that's what they've got to do. Turn a few, I know Patrick was saying, turn a few of those draws into wins. That's what we've got to do as well, particularly at home when we've been caught out a few times. I think that we will. Listen, for me, Mark summed it up earlier on. It is Champions League or bust. It's as simple as this is it now. It's the time to deliver for the manager. There's somewhere along the line you've got to have accountability and you've got to have something to say. Right, no, that this is enough. And 300 million spent in the last two seasons. I want to see something happening with it now, and I think that it's time now. I think that we've got to be favourites for the for Champions League, for the Europa League. And I think that will then get us into the Champions League. And listen, you know, it could be the fact that if we win the win the Europa League, we ain't worried about top four so much, and we could actually like drop out top four. But I want to see us going into hopefully the final, knowing that we secured Champions League football. Like, you know, so there isn't that pressure. Do you remember a couple of years ago, I felt that was a big pressure on us more than Chelsea.
Chelsea already had top four in the bag.
They already had it, and I think that was an advantage. Like, you know, so let's hope that we can get into the top four and then really like power through. Like, I think that we're there and thereabouts. I think Spurs will probably come in third. We're chasing Spurs for third, but listen, I'll take fourth if it means us getting to the Champions League. But after this season, I am not taking it no more from Spurs. I'm not taking it no more.
No, I don't want to see it. I think it's going to be difficult.
One more year, Mikel. One more year.
I think you're right. It's going to be difficult for us to finish above them this year. I really believe that. I don't think it's impossible, and it should be with our team. I think we should have a good chance. I fear that Chelsea ain't done yet. Everyone's laughing, jumping on their grave. Let's not do that just yet, please. Please, I beg you. I'm looking at the players they're linked with. This Todd Bowley ain't messing around. They've already got Sterling and Koulibaly through the door. Cucurella's coming in, it seems. They're looking at Aubameyang up top. From what I'm hearing, that's quite serious. De Jong in midfield. And Fofana at the back. I don't think we should be dancing on their grave. That's all I'm saying. I think they'll nick it. I think they'll nick it off of us Champions League and we'll come fifth. But I think we'll win the Europa League. I really do. I think we're one of the best teams in there. I look at Man United, Arsenal and Roma in that competition. Jose, please don't bloody win. Get another trophy for Roma. Please don't do it. I think they're our biggest threat. I really do, actually. And I'm going to go for Arsenal to win the Europa League and get in the Champions League that way this season. I think we've got to have to do it.
Have you seen their squad, Dan? Sorry, just you saying about Roma. Have you seen their starting 11? It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Not good, is it, mate? Not good, but we'll see. We shall see. Guys, we're going to end it there. I want to say thank you to Patrick so much, man. Listen, bro, thank you so much for coming on. Not only have you been great, but you've been really articulate and honest with your opinions, mate. And I just want to allow you to plug your podcast again, man, with your Back to the Nest stuff. So go for it, mate.
Appreciate it. So again, it's backofthenest.com. We do podcasts. We do have a YouTube channel where we do previews, reviews, player ratings. Tune in, your favorite podcast downloads. And again, we're on YouTube. And again, appreciate you having me on and good luck, except for tomorrow.
No, fair play, man. I like that. And good luck for the rest of the season. But of course, I hope we win tomorrow night. Mark, great to have you back, man. At Shade Chaser, go follow him on Twitter. Mate, it's pretty great this is, man. Every Thursday night now we've got you back. It feels like old times are here again, man.
No, it's happy, isn't it? It's good to see you all. I ain't seen you since Leeds at home. So, yeah, it's nice. Well, I've seen you, Dan, obviously. But I ain't seen Lee. And it's good, isn't it? Nice to meet you, Pat, as well. And
cheers.
I'm sure we'll see you again when it's time to come to our place. So, I like it. It's good. It's nice, isn't it? Nice to get the gang back together.
Yeah, absolutely it is, man. Absolutely. It's great. The season is upon us. Lee, you're confident going in tomorrow night. You're going to be there. So am I. I'm looking forward to it. Let's just do this with our eyes shut and we'll all be all right tomorrow night, mate, as we go out. Enjoyed that, Lee. An hour's gone really quick, mate, as well. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, always has. So don't forget, get over to BetVictor. Check them out. Like, I do some work with them now. I'm back on the show Monday. I'm on the show, so give them a look. Some good debates going on there, and it's about 20 minutes long. But looking forward to the game tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll be buzzing into the weekend and buzzing into the studios at Ball Street, cock a hoop. The Arsenal 3 points off.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Listen, guys, thank you all so much in the chat. Please smash a like and sub on this video as you go out. Until then, we'll see you next time, and up the Arsenal. Take care, guys.